I mean, I didn't do any notes.
No.
No notes.
Same. Some things never change.
Yeah, there's no point.
If my notes slip, then Dolan creeps into this chair, doesn't he?
I just had a little thing in my head I was going to say, but I was going to do a little partridge.
Mum would be like, "Why have you bought this?" When I was young, I'd be like, "Mum, I like Bovril, let me live." My mum was like, "Oh, that's a lovely voice. Who is that talking?" And my dad was like, "Oh, it's Chris Dolan." And she took one look at the screen and went, "I do not like his hair."
What?
Hello, welcome to the Villa View podcast with Thomas Julian, looking resplendent in yellow, and myself, Dan Bardell. Playoff finalists podcast, isn't it?
Second time in 2 years. Playoff finalist podcast. Yes.
I'm not ready for the potential heartache that could be coming in 12, 13 days' time, if I'm being honest. But obviously, we're ecstatic that we've got there. Although I must say, last night was one of the worst feelings I've ever had at a football match. I literally felt like I was going to have a heart attack, be sick, black out, everything. It was the works. It was horrible.
Can I firstly say, since February, I cannot believe we're in the playoff final. That is absolutely unbelievable, and full credit to the team. But you put us through the ringer last night. Like,
it really did.
You were obviously there at the Hawthorns, and for the rest of us watching at home, it was absolutely horrendous. You know, like you just said there, you felt sick. It felt like your stomach was kind of eating itself. The whole thing was just so unpleasant. And I think it came from, and we'll get into the game, but it came from, certainly for me, quite a confident place at the start of the game.
I was very confident.
And then just as it went on and on and on, this feeling of nausea just overwhelmed me.
Mate, it was just, I've never been to a game. We were at the playoff semi-final last year, and it was the first leg was away.
Yeah.
And even that was a little bit of torture in the last 10 minutes and stuff, wasn't it? We were 1-0 up, hanging on. We were sitting quite deep. Bruce.
Yeah.
Tactics. Last night I was never comfortable with what was going on, and it pains me to say this, and I really don't want to say it, but I feel like I should. I've got to say the atmosphere was very, very strong from West Brom. I thought they were very hostile and very loud, and I do think it played a part. I'd go as far as to say, being in a way, it's the best I've ever heard home fans.
It was. It came across on the telly as well. It was very loud.
Rollo didn't say that when I spoke to him earlier, but I've got to say, I didn't know they had that in them, if I'm being honest. Cause I think the atmosphere was very good on Saturday, but Villa Park's obviously a big arena. Mm-hmm. West Brom, it's quite compact, you're quite close to the pitch, and they created a hostile atmosphere. Yep. To be fair to them, I do think it affected the Villa players, and he G'd their players up and got their players going. They were all four stands were proper going for it, to be fair. I
feel nervous even just like reflecting on the game, as if they could maybe take it away from us at some point. It was just awful. I feel like I'm about to break into a cold sweat. We should say that since the last podcast, which Dan and Dolan did in my absence, there has been 2 legs. But if you want to recap the first leg in full, make sure you check out the post-match review, which is on YouTube, which is you, Max Stokes, Matt Lynch.
Yeah, Matt Lynch back from the dead.
Rollo obviously filming at Villa Park as well. So make sure you check out that. We'll obviously touch on it a little bit, but we're going to focus on the second leg and the agony that was Tuesday.
It pains you to do that, doesn't it? Not have to do it chronologically. And
no, do you know what?
You're in pain.
I don't mind it because you've already done it in terms of... I'm just thinking about the audience experience.
Yeah, audience don't want to talk about the first leg.
What I will say is I was in Hong Kong with the Hong Kong Villains on Saturday. It was Saturday night there, and I just want to say thank you to all of them guys. There was a real range. Obviously, it was 7:30. 7 o'clock, something like that. When the game kicked off, at night. So everyone was fairly boozy, and there was
boozer.
Yeah,
I think I've ever seen you. I'm trying to think if I've ever seen you boozer.
Yeah, we've done Sky Christmas parties before, which were very.
Fair on.
My leaving do.
I'm probably so hammered that I have no recollection of whether you were boozy or not.
But there was a real range of nerves and attitudes and swear levels. But it was good fun. Really, really cool to be in Hong Kong, and thank you to Kid Destiny, who's the Hong Kong Villains chairman, for letting me in and enjoying that.
It's good. I was saying to you earlier that still probably my favourite day of the season was the day I spent with the New York Villains. To be honest, the result wasn't what we wanted. We drew 2-2 with West Brom that day. But I've got to say, I had an unbelievable time. I loved it.
I saw a few of the American Villa contingent putting up photos and stuff from the last couple of legs, and they looked like they were enjoying themselves.
Yeah, it's good.
So Yeah, amazing. If you can go and you're abroad, make sure you get out on Twitter and see where you're at, because there are Villa fans literally everywhere, which makes this club so good.
They were everywhere yesterday. It felt like.
Yes. So well, let's go for it then. Let's talk about the second leg. Tuesday night, you arrive at the Hawthorns. The atmosphere is good. How are the Villa fans sounding and feeling? Confident?
I think, like I say, I was overconfident in the pub before the game at the Jewellery Quarter. A lot of Villa fans there were nervous. They were nervous about what could happen. Saying it would be typical Villa to mess this up. I got to be honest, both legs I was overconfident. I just thought we were a better team than them, and that we'd see them off. I looked at their team sheet, and I think it's quite ordinary, quite workmanlike. We should be too good for them, but they defended so deep last night that I felt like I was a part of the back five.
Yeah,
sat in that stand or stood in that stand. To be honest, I felt like I was part of their defence. They were so deep, but the atmosphere, yeah. I think when the game kicked off, I think everyone was taken aback by how hostile the West Brom fans were, to be honest. I certainly was. And the Villa fans are there singing, trying to generate an atmosphere, but to be honest, you probably couldn't hear them. And
the players as well. Do you think that affected the players a little bit? Because it did seem like West Brom came out on the front foot.
Yeah, they did. And obviously, again, like on Saturday, they got what they wanted, a goal in the first half, give themselves a chance. It's a poor goal from our point of view. I don't like conceding goals from a long throw. It's not a good look. And it kind of went in slow motion in off the post as well, kind of in between Elmo and Tammy, and Steer couldn't really react to what had happened. And from then on, I spent the whole night just being a nervous wreck after that, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that, because there's a moment before that where Anwar El Ghazi, there's a big shout for handball. I don't know if you've seen it back since, but it does hit his kind of arm here. To me, it goes either way, to be honest. Kavanagh, the referee, has a decision to make, and he goes with the defence and doesn't give it. For you, what did you think?
I've not seen it back. At the time, obviously, I probably didn't have a great view of it, so I can't really say, Tom.
Yeah, well, as I say,
you're the referee and expert. If you think it's 50-50, it's 50-50.
It kind of hits him, and if it's given, then I'm not really arguing, but I'm also not arguing that it wasn't given. So it was nice, a good decision off the bat from Chris Kavanagh, in my opinion. But we then get to the goal, and in the build-up to the goal, it looks to me very much like Tyrone Mings is bundled over. Now, he's a 6'7" Adonis, as we've lyrically waxed about him before.
His brother was sat behind me last night.
Yeah.
Equally as good looking.
Really?
Yeah.
Same haircut.
Similar. I'd say he's not 6'7".
Right.
That's pretty much the only difference, to be fair. Yeah.
But he's bundled over. To me, that is a foul, and Kavanagh gets that wrong. Do you think because he's a defender, he doesn't get the rub of the green there? I
felt like the ref, the bitty decisions were going against Villa last night. All the 50-50 ones, we wouldn't get them, and it felt like West Brom were getting them when it was the other way around last night.
Except for the El Ghazi handball, you could argue.
Yeah, okay. Apart from that, but it's one of them, isn't it? After that, that's not happened. Did that happen as the throw-in came in, or was it before?
No, so that happens, and then it goes out for the throw-in.
Yeah, enough time has passed there that you can't blame it on that.
For sure.
I would say.
Yeah, and Craig Dawson, who was ill in the first leg, he came off at half-time, I think, because he was ill. Yeah. Well, I think he did. I mean, somebody's going to tell me I'm wrong. But he comes off anyway, then comes back for the second leg, and that's absolute redemption, because he rises like a salmon. Very, very smart header from Dawson, but you're right, there's nobody on that post, and it kind of goes between Tammy and El Mohammadi. Jed Steer's in no man's land. Not Steer's fault.
Nothing he can do about it.
Nothing he can do, but it's a very nice finish, and that, if anything, ramps the atmosphere up even more for the West Brom fans.
Although I will say they were behaving like they were ahead in the tie, the West Brom fans. I saw them giving it to, obviously I was quite close to them, giving it to the Villa fans, and one of the Villa fans at the front was like, it's 2-2, lads.
Yeah.
But they were behaving like they were ahead in the tie.
You can understand
Maybe
that,
they thought away goals counted.
Maybe. Even though, as I was reliably informed, it hasn't counted for almost 2 decades.
Really?
There you go.
That's good.
But if I was the West Brom fans there, I'd feel like that too, because Villa hadn't started very well. Again. West Brom 1-0 up on the night again, and in the ascendancy at home, they must have felt like the tide swung in their favour.
Yeah, it probably had, to be honest. As I say, I was there very, very worried about what I was seeing unfold in front of me. But then I don't feel like they're the kind of team that tries to build on a lead, You know, when Villa score one, you always fancy them to score again.
Mm-hmm.
West Brom don't play the game like that. They've got one off a set piece, and to be fair, Dawson is a bit of a set piece merchant.
Well, West Brom are.
He's dangerous.
Yep.
From set plays, Dawson. He's been around at West Brom for years now, hasn't he? And but I feel like they could have taken more advantage of Villa's fragility at the time, because we were doing things at points in the game that I haven't seen us do for months. We just looked a bit nervous and a bit uncomfortable, and it wasn't a pleasant watch. But I don't feel West Brom ever really kicked on and tried to take advantage of that too much.
No, I agree with you. They're a team that play on the counter attack, don't they? I saw a stat in the last 15 minutes, West Brom are second in the amount of goals they've scored.
We're first?
We're sixth.
What, really?
Yeah.
It feels like we've scored quite a lot.
I think Leeds or Norwich must be first, because they were always scoring last.
Inevitably, we're not sixth, and you've got it wrong.
That's definitely right. I'm sure it is, according to Sky Sports. And but anyway, yeah, they play on the counter attack, don't they? And they're a bit Brucey or a bit Middlesbrough in that way, where they just hold it, and then try and nick a goal. Obviously, they did that, and in a one match game, they would have got the rub of the green. But
I'm not really warmed to Jimmy Shan. I mean, obviously he won't be the manager next season, but I found him quite negative and quite unreasonable in the stuff he was saying after the first leg, and just the way he set the team up. Quite boring and mundane. If I was a West Brom fan, I'd be thinking Villa were not at their best over those 2 legs, and we've had a real chance to have a go there in both games and not really done it. I can, to an extent, understand it in the first leg, because they've got 1-0, and to be fair, what they were doing was working for long periods of the game. We didn't look like we were going to score. I was worried in that game we weren't going to score. There's not really showing much adventure, like just satisfied to lose by 1 goal in the first leg, and then I know they've gone down to 10 men, but before that I didn't see anything from them where I really thought they're going for this.
I mean,
their tails are up.
They've lost a massive player in Dwight Gale from the first leg
through their own fault.
Do you think?
Well, through his fault, yeah.
I don't think it was a second yellow.
Come on.
I really don't. I think he
could have gone earlier on a couple of times for a second yellow.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there. He goes.
Well, you say it's neither here nor there, but it is.
But the referee doesn't give it. I think the referee makes that decision. I think he gets it wrong. I think Dwight Gale's got every right to go for that ball. In my opinion,
he has. But once you don't get there, you're in a bit of trouble when you're on a yellow card, because it's late. At the end of the day, did he get the ball? No. I think did he go into steer? Yes.
A lot of strikers would do that and come out of it and nothing.
He did. I'll give him credit that he half tried to pull out. I would say.
I thought it was harsh, and then obviously, I mean, it doesn't matter now, but he got the extra game ban, didn't he? So he would have missed the final as well.
He simulated earlier on in the season, Tom, and they're the rules. Again, you're a stickler for the rules.
I am a stickler for the rules, but it's neither here nor there, because they don't have to worry about that, so that's fine. But they lose Dwight Gale, who's a 22 goal man, and that's a massive part of their offensive talent. And now you're relying on Rodriguez, who is a completely different kind of striker. Obviously had that great chance in the first leg that Steer pushes onto the bar, which is a beautiful bit of keeping.
Wonderful save.
Really, really wonderful. So, I mean, Jimmy Shan is kind of he's kind of constrained by the team that he's got to pick.
But Robson Kanu got himself banned on the last day of the season as well. I would argue they've got disciplinary problems.
Sure.
3 red cards in 3 games.
I wonder if that's Jimmy Shan's fault or whether it's the player's fault. Who knows? But Jimmy Shan has this team to pick, and he almost gets the job done. So I think there's a fair bit of credit, because he's only, 12, 13 games as manager?
Couldn't tell you. I've just not warmed to him, Tom.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And to your point, he sets up a lot like Steve Bruce did, boring football and trying to get on the counter-attack. Yeah. And it almost worked, but it didn't. Do you not think he'll stay there next year?
They're saying today that Houghton's going to go there.
Oh, really?
Which would be, I would argue, a sensible appointment.
I think very good
track
move.
Record of getting teams like that out of that league.
Fairly disappointed for Houghton in that job.
Brighton.
Yeah, I know. No,
are you saying you're disappointed he got the sack from Brighton, or are you saying disappointed to see him go and take on a team like West Brom?
I understand why he got the sack from Brighton, because they want to move up in the world.
I agreed with that sacking.
Yeah, I can understand why. But I think Houghton has done enough to maybe warrant a Premier League team or a more attractive team than West Brom.
But doesn't play an attractive brand of football. Brighton have been turgid at best this season when I've seen them.
But before this season, I mean, they were set up for survival this year. He has played attractive football before, I think.
I think he's a championship manager. He's got a track record as well of getting teams close or getting teams promoted. I think, yeah, I would say that's his level.
Yeah, well,
Bruce is at his level in the Championship.
We shall see. But we're not on the Chris Hughton podcast.
We aren't
just yet.
No.
So anyway, I can't even remember how we got onto that. Anyway, West Brom are 1-0 up, and it has to be said that Villa are not playing particularly well. I thought Neil Taylor probably had his worst game as under Dean Smith.
I didn't think he was good.
We're giving balls away all over the place. Twanzebe, Mings, these reliable sorts of players. Jed Steer as well has a couple of howlers really, where he gives them straight to their forward.
We had some scares. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's not come from West Brom having a go.
No,
that's come from our incompetence.
I agree.
So I think the occasion maybe got the better of a couple, because Twanzebe is as reliable as they come on the ball. Normally, I can't remember ever seeing him make a howling bad pass or stuff like that, but there was a 10-minute spell in the game last night where we just kept doing it, playing out from the back, and it just wasn't working. We couldn't get any control of the ball. It was, I've got to be honest, apart from maybe the second half in the first leg, it was pretty uncomfortable all round, wasn't it?
I was horrible. I said to you this morning, I wanted to separate this game into 3 thirds, because the first 75 minutes where we're 11-on-11, I thought Villa were poor. Obviously, once Brunt sent off, we have that period in extra time where Villa are going for it but can't break them down, and then you have the penalties, which are completely separate on their own. But like, you and I disagreed on McGinn. I thought McGinn was fairly anonymous in the first leg, and I thought he raised his game but just didn't have the end product, whereas you didn't see much from him last night.
I think he's had, in the playoffs, and I love John McGinn, and he has rightly won Player of the Season at Villa, but I'd say the 2 games in the playoff, he was nowhere near it. Yeah. Nowhere near the level that he's been at. I just think, first game, I've got to say, I thought West Brom did a job on Grealish and McGinn. I thought that they shackled them and made it difficult for us, and I think in the end that was what freed Connor up to score, because they were concentrating so much on McGinn and Grealish. But I just didn't think he had his best game again. Not many did. To be fair, not many did themselves justice last night. Over the 2 legs, I mean, I've just got panned by a few people on Twitter for saying this. I'd say Al Mohammed was our best player over the 2 legs, to be honest. Yeah,
we spoke about this off before the podcast, and I agree with you, because I can't pick a guy that was as consistent.
That's how he always is, isn't he? He's not spectacular, but he's consistent.
Yeah.
He put a lovely ball across the box in extra time that no one got on the end of. Yeah. He put in some good balls in both legs.
Yeah. There was,
to be fair to him,
Tammy Abraham scissor kick in the first leg. There's a few, and he got up and down. He did his job. I can't really remember him making a massive mistake, whereas I can from most other people.
Yeah, we weren't ourselves. I mean, my only thought is that hopefully that's our bad performances out of the way, and at Wembley we're going to turn up and be the Villa that we've seen play so well over the last few months.
Well, Dean Smith said after the game he was very disappointed to lose. Obviously, it's the first loss in since February, so he will get that into his players that they didn't play particularly well. I don't think he's gonna. He's got a long time now. We've got until
too long,
till the 27th. But maybe it's good for him to kind of go, look, this is what happened, this is what went wrong, let's get back to what we were doing.
I mean, it might be good for the players and good for the coach. It's not good for me, Tom.
No.
Because it's too long to wait. It was the same last year. You just literally, I feel like my life's on hold until I know what league Villa are going to be. And last night, God, if ever a final went to penalties, I don't know what I'd do. Because I wanted to walk out last night because I just couldn't take it. Just could not take it. I was on the radio earlier and I said, I literally felt like I'd gone 12 rounds with AJ. Anthony Joshua.
I'm not sure you could make 12 rounds, mate.
Battered. I was like, what's happened there? I went for a drink after with Kevan and the Lloyds, and all of us were just sat there, like,
out
just
of it.
Gone.
Yeah,
just gone. I don't even feel like the whole night was real.
Yeah,
it was the most surreal football match I've ever been to. I've been to a lot of football matches. That was the most surreal football match I've ever been to.
I was going to say, Jack Hurley said, have you ever been more nervous watching a game? And like we said right at the start, I think the arc of confidence down to like physical nausea was outstanding and disgusting.
I mean, I was saying in the pub before the game, I was saying what I was saying, that how confident I was, but I was thinking in my head, that can only end one way, Daniel. If you go around saying stuff like that, it'll come back and bite you. So I don't know why I continue to say it, to be honest.
I don't. Yeah, some people say like, oh, don't jinx it, all that kind of stuff. I don't really believe in that, because I mean, the players aren't going to hear it before the game. It doesn't make a difference what idiots like us think until they get on the pitch and do it. But it is. I guess you put yourself out there, and some people are going to fall apart.
During the game, I've got to say, until they went to 10 men, I was thinking, West Brom are going to win this, and we're going to go out. Like, I thought they would score again, and we're going to go out here, and it's going to be horrific. Because as much as I think West Brom are quite sad in the fact of their hatred of Villa, I mean, I don't like West Brom, but I hate them. Their all-round behaviour of the other Midlands teams is quite embarrassing. I think in their alliance against Villa, like Wolves fans wanting West Brom to win. If Birmingham were playing West Brom, I'd want West Brom to win because Birmingham are our rivals. I understand Birmingham fans hating us. Don't get me wrong, that's acceptable. I hate Birmingham City. But the other lot, just weirdos, to be honest.
Full stop.
Utter weirdos. Not all of them. Not all Wolves fans and not all West Brom fans.
Clip that for the social.
No, because I know a couple of reasonable West Brom fans. I also know a couple of strange West Brom fans as well. But that whole mentality, there was a tweet yesterday from West Brom fans saying West Brom fans want West Brom to win, Wolves fans want West Brom to win, Birmingham City fans want West Brom to win, and I thought, you sad individual, what's wrong with you?
To say the other side of that point, I was in Hong Kong on Saturday, and
you go Hong Kong, you've not mentioned.
I knew you were going to say that. There was one of these Villa fans who welcomed us into the Globe, and he was sauced up, and he was like, "Oh,
do you know you were? Did anyone know you were?"
No, which
that's
is
disappointing.
I just bumped my mate Graydon at one point, and I had a fair few beers, and I was like. It's a bit sad that nobody knows who I am.
I bet you was. Did you brief him beforehand? And I just to warn you, mate. People are going to come and want to speak to me. I'm Tom Julian from the Villa View podcast.
No, I didn't. I'm not at that level yet, but close. Anyway, this guy, really nice, welcomed us in. Hey lads, come on up the Villa. And then by about 20 minutes in, he was just effing and jeffing the whole game. But to the point where he was swearing at Jack, swearing at literally every player, calling them the C word, all this kind of stuff. And I was just like mate, come on, just calm down a bit. And then he was swearing at Johnston, who he was our goalkeeper for a couple of years. I can understand. Anyway, it's just the whole thing. You get a couple of idiot Villa fans, is my point as well.
Did you say that? What you've just told me reminded me of this. The guy having a go at Pogba.
No.
When the players were doing their lap of appreciation at the last game of the season for Man U, just absolutely hammering him. He sat near the front. Pogba can hear him, and he's just stood there going, nodding his head along, going, "Yeah, okay."
Yeah.
But it's just people like that. I just find them cringeworthy. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, exactly. You're shouting at a telly.
I mean, obviously this guy doesn't listen to the podcast, so we're going to be fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're going to be fine anyway. I think. Yeah. But anyway, so there you go. You get idiot fans. Anyway, Johansson and Brunt. Largely doing a hatchet job on McGinn and Grealish, weren't they?
I'm surprised because I look at those two and I would think our midfield three. We've got the legs on them. We'll get round them, but we couldn't.
But Johansson, I thought, was lucky to stay on the pitch. He got a booking in the end and then got taken off. But he had 3 or 4 on both Grealish and Hourihane and McGinn. Kept full body checking.
We did 3 on Grealish on Saturday.
Well, there was a point where Grealish goes down and it looks like he might have got a dead leg or something. He gets back up and he's okay, but that's Johansson just hitting him and hitting him. And you can see in their faces they're smiling and they know what they're doing.
Oh, it's premeditated.
And have you seen the stamp back on Brunt on McGinn's arm?
I literally watched. I'd had a few beers by this point. I got home about 1:30, 2 o'clock and watched the highlights on my phone, but I don't really remember it, to be honest.
Well, Brunt lands, and it looks fairly vicious to me on McGinn's arm. McGinn doesn't take it well, as you can understand. And then the turning point, really, I guess, in the game is Brunt getting sent off for a second yellow, and you see his absolute devastation, because I think at this point he thinks that they're going to go through, and then he's now out of the final. Dwight Gale's out of the final. Robson Kanu would be out of the final.
I have no idea.
I think.
Did he get 3-game ban?
I can't remember. But anyway, Brunt, the captain of West Brom, trudging down the pitch. And then there's just this highlight of Kodja just going,
yeah,
out you go. And
that was a bit of Usain Bolt from Kodja.
Very, very nice. But Brunt makes a massive mistake there because he doesn't need to make that. He dives in and he ultimately costs his team a chance of the final.
Justice, to be honest, though, if he stamped earlier.
Yes, I agree.
Was that a straight red? I've not seen it back.
I think it could have. If Kavanagh sees it, to me, it looks like it's.
I've seen people say he was looking right at it.
Yeah, he was very close to it. I think Kavanagh had a poor game. Brett Leader asked me, and I always get this when referees are bad, but he was like,
you must get it every week.
Two playoff finals, 2 playoff semis, 2 bad referees. I don't really remember the first leg.
I don't think he was too bad on Saturday.
But yeah, I thought Kavanagh got a lot wrong for both, mainly for Villa, like you mentioned earlier, but also that El Ghazi could have gone the other way. But
it's naive from Brunt, someone of that experience.
Very much,
very naive. But it almost, I have seen that back. I just saw it back now before I came out because I had it up in the office, and it was on. And it was almost like he was not going to give him a second yellow card until the Villa players asked.
I agree with you. Yeah.
He was doing nothing, and players were there like, oh my God, what's happening? How is he not getting booked for that? It's on the edge of the area. It's a bad foul as well.
Totally agree.
It's definite second booking, 100%.
Well, because just before then, sorry to interrupt you, he's stamped on McGinn. He's gone through the back of McGinn in the middle of the park, and then he has that moment.
Didn't like John McGinn, did he?
He didn't, and
no.
It was a rough old game for McGinn. I wouldn't be surprised if he woke up this morning a bit sore. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but he should know better though, shouldn't he, Chris Brunt? You don't make a tackle like that when you're on a yellow card in a game of that magnitude. You just don't do it.
Up to this point, I don't think Villa have made any subs, and so Dean Smith's been fairly conservative.
Adoma must have been on by then.
Potentially, he's the only one. I thought the subs were fairly late from Smith. I guess it works out in the end, but we couldn't break them down.
I've got to say, I looked at the bench on Saturday, and you kind of thought, well, if it's not going great, Connor and Adoma or Codger can come on and there's something to turn it around. I was looking at the bench last night and I was thinking, I don't think there's much he can do here that's going to make it any better. No disrespect to Whelan, but when you need a goal, you're not going to take Connor off for Whelan.
Well, because we ended up playing with 3 centre forwards, didn't we?
Yeah, that was a bit Bruce as
and
well.
Davis.
That was a bit Bruce, but with the lack of long ball.
Yeah.
We still played on the floor, to be fair. He chucked all the strikers on, but we still played on the floor. But don't know. It was kind of, we just couldn't break them down. They defended so deep, probably the deepest I've ever seen a side in my life.
And it got even deeper when they lost Brunt, didn't it? Because this then comes into the second third of the game where they just put 10 behind the ball, and it was just relentless essentially. But Villa couldn't really make any chances to test Sam Johnston apart from long range ones, except for Albert Adoma, who
should have done better.
I think it's a brilliant save.
It's a good save. It's quite near to him though.
Yeah, but he has to react.
It's a good save.
Yeah.
I was right behind that, and in real time,
right.
It looked like an unbelievable save. I've seen it back on the telly, and it doesn't look as impressive. But I think he's got to score there, personally.
Yeah, well,
even on his left foot, he's got to score there.
We had a couple of questions. Do you think this is the last time we see Albert Adoma? Obviously, Monday aside, in a Villa shirt.
I'm not sure in his contract situation, to be honest. I've got to say, I thought he was out of contract in the summer, but I've seen mixed messages as to whether he is or not. He seems to have just lost a yard of pace to me, Adoma, and I think that's hindering him. He hasn't been the same player since last February. He was on 16 goals in last February, and he's probably scored 2 or 3 since then. He had a real purple patch, and since then he's just not been the same.
No, it really hasn't. It's been a weird one.
I thought Green. I think if you asked me who I'd start, I mean you haven't asked me. If you were to ask me who I'd start out of him and Green at Wembley, even though I don't think he was great last night, I think I'd still go Green on the big pitch, space to run into. I just think. I don't think Green's anywhere near the finished article. I mean, who knows what kind of player he'll turn out to be long term, whether he'll make it at Villa. I just think Adoma's so far off his A game and just accumulating his penalty last night. He's just not the Albert I remember from last season, and it's sad.
I've got to say, there's a fair few questions. I mean, there was loads of questions, so thank you for that. I haven't really included any about the team, any at all.
Made you send questions in, but then put it in my notes.
I haven't included any for the team lineup for the final, just because I think we can talk about that next week and in the build up to the final. But there were a couple on Andre Green. Pat Singleton, do you think Green is good enough for us no matter what league we're in next year? Him and Adoma have been poor recently, and we've been lacking an outlet on the right. Would you risk playing Codger wide in the final, as he probably offers more and might play to the occasion?
We were saying this in the pub last night. Like, my big issue with Codger has always been his work rate. On the wing, I just think he'll let you down. He'll not track a fullback or something, and you'll end up conceding off it. Sheffield United game at home, I think he played on the wing, and I think in my opinion, 2 of the goals stemmed from his lack of tracking back. But saying that, the problem is Codger Adoma and Green, they all look better when they're coming off the bench. None of them are looking great when they start on the wing. But I can see why people would want to start Codger, because at least you feel like he might do something. But if you ask me at the moment who I'd pick Green still.
I would pick Green as well. I think he's the one that offers us a potential bit of magic most right now, and I agree with you about Codger. I feel like he's had his chance and he hasn't really taken it.
I mean, El Ghazi's the best of the bunch on the wing, isn't he, really? But even he's pretty inconsistent, I would say.
I thought El Ghazi was below par last night. I think
he's fasting, isn't he, which probably isn't helping the situation.
I don't know when he breaks fast, but yeah, you're right, he is. I thought he was below par, but grew into the game a little bit more. I thought he was going to lose his head early doors. There was him and Mason Holgate, I think it was, were going at each other, and I thought he might get in trouble, just a bit of naivety, but he held it together and got better and better, in my opinion.
No, he's been good he's been good, hasn't he, in the run that we had towards the back end of the season. But sometimes he looks brilliant, unplayably brilliant, and then other times he looks like he couldn't beat an egg.
Yeah,
I suppose that's wingers. But I'd say that's our weakest area, that right midfield, at the moment.
Yeah. I wanted to shout out Mason Holgate. I thought he had a really good game. But I was going to say, was there any players that would get into our West Brom, wouldn't get into the Villa team? But actually, El Mohammadi was the most consistent guy we had. So unlucky, Mason, you don't get in either.
No, he's not getting in either.
So we go into extra time and
torture.
The stats were it was like 89% Villa on possession, and it was just relentless. But again, without that killer goal, Davis had a chance. He took it off Tammy Abraham.
Yeah.
Grealish was in and around, but couldn't get the final ball in. Hourihan had a couple of chances which were almost identical to the one he scored throughout the game. I think there was 2 or 3, but it just didn't break right for him. I think El Ghazi made Johnston make a save as well, but there was just nothing that there was no killer instinct in
I've got to say, we could still be playing now, and I don't think we would have scored.
Yeah.
I just never got the feeling that we were going to score, and that was what was making me feel like I was going to have a heart attack, amongst other things. I just didn't think it was ever going to happen.
Nigel Boyle said, why do we keep taking short corners when we have several 6'5" lads, and why aren't we using Codger more? So double-sided question, is that right? Brett Leader also says short corners in 95% of the cases is a wasted corner. Get it in the mix and there's a better chance of getting something for it. A short corner should be a change-up, not the norm. I agree. I like us doing a short corner every now and again, and we've seen it work, but we seem to be playing all short corners last night.
It reminded me a bit of England in, I think it was Euro 2016. Yeah, I guess it must have been 2016.
Sure.
And well, you just start trying something that you've not done. Like England played the whole qualifiers with someone taking the corners, and then they got to the tournament. Let's get Harry Kane on corners. Like, just bizarre.
Yeah.
And all season we've been decent from set plays. We've got one of the best deliverers of dead ball in Conor Hourihan in the Championship. And suddenly the last 2 games from nowhere, we've just started taking short corners.
Yeah.
And like you might do one every now and again, like you say. It was every corner, and I just didn't get it. I just did not get it at all.
I agree. And there was a point where we just seemed to lose our heads. Tammy Abraham takes a free kick where Connor's standing over it.
I haven't seen him take a free kick all season, and then just from nowhere he takes one. There's some weird things going on. It was just a strange night, and it just was one of those nights where it just wasn't happening for us. Like I said to you on the way in, like Connor, McGinn and Jack all had long-range efforts that were just wayward, or they snatched at it, dragged it wide. It just was not happening for us. We were not going to score all night.
There was a point where Craig Dawson, again, it hits his hand. Potential penalty shout. It's obviously not given. I kind of think it was a little bit more of a shout for a penalty than El Ghazi's. Again, I don't know if you've seen it back, but it's one of those that goes 50-50 and it's not given. So that's the way it goes. I wonder if in that situation the referee probably just didn't think it was a penalty rather than giving the advantage to West Brom. If you're not sure, you can't give it.
And who knows what goes through Chris Kavanagh's mind. A strange man.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Seemed strange last night.
Right, fine. The McGinn cross to Davis came last minute, and he takes it off Tammy's head. Neither of them are particularly happy with the situation, but
no.
I kind of feel like Davis should do better. It's his to win, but he just can't get the purchase on it.
summed up the night, really, didn't it?
Yeah.
Really, it was just an unpleasant evening until the end.
It was.
Very, very unpleasant.
I think that's right. So then we move into penalties, and by now, literally every Villa fan watching is with their sick bucket in hand.
Yeah, and I'd gone from wanting to have been the most confident person you've ever met pre-game to get into penalties and thinking in my head, oh, we're just going to lose, aren't we? They're going to beat us. It's going to be horrible. It's at West Brom. I'm going to have to watch their weird fans celebrate. I'm just not going to enjoy it.
And to a point, they probably deserved it because they played 41 minutes over 2 legs with 10 men.
Well, don't lose your discipline, and you won't have to do that.
They probably played better than us in the first leg.
Overall, no.
We beat them in the last 20 minutes.
But I don't think they were better than us.
I don't think they were worse.
They were executing their game plan better than we executed ours, I would say. But obviously they've gone one up, and that's dream world for them.
I'm talking
to protect.
First leg.
Yeah, I'm talking first leg.
Yeah.
They've gone one up in that game, and there's something to protect, which is absolute dream world for them. They'd have been chuffed with 0-0 at Villa Park. That's what they've come for, realistically. And then 5-10 minutes, Villa have managed to get 2 goals and win the game.
I guess my point is that
they're not better. At no point, I wouldn't say they were better than us at any point, or that they deserved it any more than us.
But they weren't worse than us either.
No, we were not good last night. We didn't do ourselves justice at all.
So then to do it with 10 men for so long, I know exactly what you're saying, and I agree with you, I think, but it felt like they battled so hard with the less than one man, whatever, and then just it looked like they might get it over the line at home.
It is difficult to play against a team that is defending that deep. At whatever level you play at, you will struggle to play against a team that is so deep. Like, we're playing like intricate little knocks and little passes in such a congested area. Like, it's almost impossible to score. You have a shot from range, and when we did, it didn't go well. It rose-headed. But when you're having a shot, it's going to get blocked because there's just so many people in and around that area.
And you're going against one of the best shot stoppers in the league, probably Sam Johnston.
He's a good keeper.
Very good keeper.
He's a good keeper. The man looks sad, though. I feel for him. You can tell he doesn't really want to be there. Apparently the West Brom fans do not like him.
Really?
Either at all. You can tell he just wanted to sign for Villa, didn't he?
He did.
He did. In fact, I'm saying that. I know he wanted to sign for Villa. That is a fact.
So,
Rafa Benitez, a fact.
We get into penalties, and it must be really interesting for Jimmy Shan and the comparable 2 huddles there, because you've got Villa, who haven't lost a penalty shootout in 4, with a bunch of players who are very, very good at penalties. Millie Jednak obviously coming on for the last minute to just take a penalty. Jimmy Shan has lost Rodriguez, who's not playing, and he's the only player, I think, in the West Brom team since 2016 to score a penalty.
Yeah, Brunt used to be their penalty taker.
Brunt's off.
Yeah.
Obviously, Dwight Gale's not playing. Robson Kanu's not playing.
Barry's a good penalty taker.
Johansson's not playing. Like, all of their experienced heads are off at this point.
Yeah.
And whereas Villa lining up, you'd imagine, to take a penalty. A lot of people saying, why didn't Codger take one?
Yeah, I was surprised because he buried his last one.
Presumably, Adoma was very forthright in wanting to take.
And I've got many thoughts on Adoma's penalty, and I'm sure we'll come to it. But you're right with what you say about, if you look at Villa's list and West Brom's list, you fancy the Villa players that are on the list. I mean, you're bringing on a player in Millwall Jednak who scored penalties at the World Cup recently, so you know he's got the bottle from the spot. I'm pretty sure Connor used to take Barnsley's penalties. It's a nerve-wracking experience sitting next to Jack's brother, watching Jack step up to take a penalty. If I'm being honest,
talk us through Kevin's face.
To be honest, it was probably no worse than mine.
Yeah, true.
Gerald, but I imagine it adds an extra element when it's your brother stepping up to take a penalty for the club that you all love. It was horrible. Well, to be honest.
And one thing that we should highlight, Gareth Thomas says what all of us are thinking: was anyone else almost sick watching the penalties? Yes. Absolutely, yes. There's a little clip of Jed Steer and Mason Holgate. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Walking up together, and Jed Steer's just like staring at him. And Mason Holgate...
He's not even like staring in like an evil way or an off-putting way. It's just a weird stare, but it works. It's
confident though, isn't it? And Mason Holgate kind of tries to give it him back and like looks at him for like maybe a second and a half.
I think I'm not having that.
And then absolutely bottles it and then goes... And is that the moment there that it's potentially won? You know, Jed Steer's done his...
I like stuff like that, because that isn't Villa. That is not what Villa have ever been. We've never been had street smarts, I would say.
Totally. And I think at that moment there, you know, Jed Steer is in Holgate's head.
Yeah.
Jed Steer will have looked at where all of these players are going to take their penalties.
He'd have had a job pulling out any research of any of their penalty takers, to be honest.
You're right about that. But he's done a massive psychological job on him there. And it shows, because then we get into the penalties. I've got a bunch of questions. I'll come back to the Jed Steer bit because there are hundreds of questions. Let's get into the penalties. I think it's a poor penalty from Mason Holgate. Goes kind of to Steer's left, but it's a nice height for him.
Not much power.
Steer goes the right way, and we're off to a brilliant start. What's the mood then in the Villa camp?
Just, oh my God, something's gone right. Was pretty much how I felt. But still, at that point, I'm thinking, God, we're gonna miss all our. In my head, but I'm being negative. I'm thinking we're gonna miss all our penalties. They're going to score all theirs before it starts. But it gives you a lift, doesn't it?
Oh, massively.
It's the wrong terminology, but you've got something to protect. No, that is completely wrong. You haven't got something to protect. When the first one goes in, you've got something to protect. But you know what I mean. It gives you a bit of wiggle room when they run up and miss their penalty straight away. It's the worst start you can have. So then their next penalty taker's automatically under more pressure if Villa score as well. So it's a great start.
Well, Conor Hourihane then gives us something to protect, in your words, because he buries his penalty, and then Ahmed Hegazi misses his as well.
That was a good save.
Was a brilliant save, down low to the left, right in the corner.
He's hit that well,
and Steer is equal to it. That's the moment where you start to feel a little bit less sick.
At that point, I'm thinking, here we go. Right, who's next for Villa? And then the Iceman is stepping up, and you think, it was the only time I had absolutely no worries that someone was going to score.
So Millie Jedinak, with his first touch, puts it in exactly the same place as Hegazi, but this time it hits the back of the net.
Yeah, I mean, I did a tweet last night when I had a few to drink. It's actually probably one of my most successful tweets I've ever done. I mean, I think the correct phrase is it's banged. I think it's nearly at 2,000 likes. That's probably his first touch. Well, I think it was his first touch.
I think it was, yeah.
Of the ball. It's possibly his last touch ever in a Villa shirt, and he has absolutely made it count. And then he's just come in with a boss celebration at the end of it. I don't know what he did. He's like a look into the crowd. It was just a look.
Was it?
Look of an absolute warrior.
Yeah.
And I just thought, yeah, I'm having you, Jedinak. I'm having you.
So then it's Adebayo. I definitely haven't said that right.
Loanee from Manchester City, I believe.
And he scored. He came on young. All the West Brom subs were fairly young, I think, or at least three of them.
I mean, they're down to the bare bones. They've pretty much got just defenders to bring on, haven't they?
Well, that's it.
He was playing in midfield, but he's a centre back. It was like a Tony Pulis wet dream of how many centre backs can you get on the pitch at once for West Brom.
He sticks it low to the right, and that's the end. And West Brom are on the board now. And then Captain Jack steps up, sitting next to his brother.
I'm worried.
But he puts it in exactly the same place, and again, no mistake.
Him and Connor, because obviously we love Connor on the podcast, and I just didn't want either of them to be the ones that would miss for us and potentially cost us. I was very, very nervous for both those penalties.
Yeah. Then it's Kieran Gibbs, who obviously gave away the penalty in the first leg to Jack. He makes no mistake, again puts it in the same place as Grealish. And then you've got Adoma for the win. Who?
I mean, this wouldn't have come across on telly. I tell you what, the fastest he's moved for months. He's done everything that you shouldn't do from a penalty walk. You got to do that long walk. Mm-hmm. He's ran like fast to get to the point of taking his penalty, and I felt like he's rushed the whole thing. He rushed his penalty. His run-up was quite off. It didn't look like he'd really steadied himself and thought about where he was going to put it. All that was missing was the Matt Lynch jump.
It was very similar.
He's completely Matt Lynched it.
Yeah.
To be fair, and I'm thinking, oh no. And at this point, someone who I know who was working for Sky just before Adoma was about to take has come running over with a camera to start videoing me.
For the victory.
To video my reaction.
No.
And I'm thinking, right, we've scored all our penalties. This guy's come over to video me and we've missed. And he comes back for the Tammy one, and I'm thinking, no.
Go away.
No, go away.
Let me live.
We were scoring until you were showing your face over here, but luckily he's obviously captured some absolute... I mean, I've jumped ahead a bit here, but he's captured some absolute scenes at the end.
Spoiler alert if you haven't seen the result.
I mean, I believe that's going to have been broadcast on Sky's playoff show tonight. I've been told that my face, my reaction is going to be on the TV tonight.
You Sky Plus'd it.
I have. I mean, we've passed the point of Sky Plus now, mate.
Have we?
That VCR it.
Is that on the
Sky Q, mate.
On the Xbox.
We're Sky Q
One.
now. We're Sky Q now.
Right. Okay. Anyway, Adoma's penalty absolutely lynched it, as you perfectly
put. It's a good terminology. I wish I thought of that last night.
You should have tweeted that. Yeah. That would have banged.
Yeah, it would have banged. I've got a gif of his penalty. I can drag that out any time I need.
So, standing captain James Morrison, West Brom's only really experienced or elder statesman, if you like, makes it interesting. He really good penalty that past Steer's right hand, and it's up to Tammy Abraham, who scored penalty in the first leg, but to be honest, didn't really get into either leg, did he? Do you think? I felt like we didn't utilise him the way that he has been the whole season.
Difficult when you're so deep.
Yeah,
I think there's not much you can do other than that volley in the first leg. I don't really think of him as missing any real chances, and even that wasn't like a brilliant chance.
No, it wasn't.
We didn't play well, so if you're not playing well, your striker's not going to be getting great service, is he? So I don't think we can really pick too much on Tammy.
No.
I will say one thing through the penalty shootout that I was thinking was, well, Sam Johnson has probably trained with these guys on penalties, so he might have an idea of what they're going to do, and that kind of adds an extra element to it as well. But obviously, he didn't save a single one, so that was an irrelevant thought from me.
Yeah.
But even Tammy's, like, obviously with the camera in my face now, I'm just thinking, oh, he's going to miss. And we're going to be level again, and he's going to go sudden death, and he's going to be absolute hell.
And it wasn't the best penalty from Abraham. It did, yeah. Abraham.
It's difficult for Tammy because he obviously took one on Saturday. It becomes very psychological of what you're going to do. So I think he did do the right thing, putting it down the middle.
Well, to your point, you've got that psychology with Hourihan, with Adoma, with Grealish, these players that Johnson has played with.
Yeah.
So there is that element of should I do the same things I always do, or should you ever do the same things you always do? When you're Jednak,
you should always just make one thing. You should just do is be decisive.
Yeah,
just make up your mind. I'm talking here like I'm a penalty expert. Obviously, I fluffed one at Villa Park as well. I just didn't do a silly jump.
True.
So I get away with it a little bit.
That was a decent penalty.
It was a good save.
But there you go. So Tammy Abraham puts his away. Cue raucous celebrations.
Mate,
the sickness doesn't quite leave you.
No, it's still here now.
Yeah.
Even talking about it, it's like going like PSD. It's horrible.
Anyway, so that's it. Villa are in the final for the second year running.
Everyone's jumping all over each other. I've nearly fell over about 3 times during celebrations. I did that classic, I don't know why I did it because I never do stuff like this, that classic away fan thing as well, where I'm looking at the home fans and giving it the big one as well. Scumbag. Yeah, I don't like people who do that, and then I've gone and done it. Got carried away and done it. Everyone's climbing all over each other. People who you'd never met in your life. I've given them more love over the past couple of days than the wife. You're literally just doing all sorts, aren't you?
You absolutely are. Do you want to hear what Dean Smith said
why not,
after the game? I'd have taken this 15 games ago, very, very Chris Dolan.
He's very sure.
And we have cause to be very proud. We deserved it. But the disappointing thing for me was not winning. I couldn't believe we'd lost the game. That's our first defeat since losing at Brentford in February.
It's not easy because we lost to Norwich.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's on the Tom Julian.
He's on the Tom Julian note.
Dean Smith's got some Tom Julian notes in front of him there, hasn't he? What have you been feeding, Dean?
I don't know. That's a wild one, isn't it? They were always going to be a threat from set pieces, but we had enough chances to have scored.
Maybe you meant away. That's the first time we've lost. Maybe you've missed out a key word.
I don't think I've copied and pasted it.
Well, you're capable of getting that wrong, very much so.
That's very true.
You're in trouble now, aren't you? Because your battery's about to go on your laptop.
That's true.
You've got no notes back up
I've got a plug.
Quickly. It's an as live podcast.
That was a really bad one. That's going to go any second.
Is it? No prior warning?
Very little prior warning. We've done our preparations. We were prepared for penalties since the day we qualified. My goodness, the pressure's getting to me. We had a lot of rehearsals, and of course we had the inspired substitution of bringing on Millie Jednak, who has never missed a penalty.
Yeah. Shout out to your work for not updating their laptop since 1985. It's a beast.
What do you mean?
It's just a poor laptop, isn't it?
The laptops here used to be awful.
They're good now, though, so I can say it. Yeah.
Right, okay, fair enough. Let's go back, let's circle back to the hero of the hour, Jed Steer, because we haven't really talked too much about him. And this is the main reason I wanted to break the game down into thirds, because I didn't think he had a particularly good game up until the penalty, where he becomes an absolute hero, no doubt. But his distribution, I thought, was pretty poor.
But you're sitting here raving about Sam Johnson. His distribution was heroic.
I'm not raving about Sam Johnston. I did say to you at one point, like, I wish Sam Johnston was still our goalkeeper.
I mean, I have done for most of the season, but over the last couple of months or so, I've not wanted that.
I don't want to I don't want this to be misconstrued, because I think Jed Steer is an absolute brilliant story. Coming back from on loan, where he was effectively hung out to dry by Steve Bruce, and to come back and be the hero of the penalty shootout is absolutely
His first
brilliant.
ever penalty shootout, you said, didn't it?
Yeah, but I just want... I don't think it was all plain sailing for him. There's a moment in the first leg, like, he didn't have a huge amount to do.
He's made a worldie save in the first.
Just before he's made that worldie save, he's come out and he should have clattered Neil Taylor to come out and win the ball, and he hasn't done that. And to me, that's happened at least once. We were talking about it.
I don't remember it.
He came out, he come rushing out of his, not out of his box, but out of his 6-yard box, and makes a bit of a hash.
Sure,
of
it wasn't
it.
Neeland or Kalinic.
No, it wasn't. You never know with me. And to be honest, I was sitting here doing the notes earlier, and I was like, am I the only one that thinks this? And then K2 Villa saved me, because I like K2 Villa.
I mean, you could call him by his real name.
Does a blog. Andy, we met him at Villa Park a couple of months ago. Steer was the hero, but looked very shaky early in the second half. Is that a concern, or will he recover? Now, I said to you, and you said this was harsh to me, but I think we've seen the best and the worst of Jed Steer in these two games, because we've seen him be an absolute hero on more than one occasion, don't get me wrong. We've also seen a little bit of headlessness for him, in my opinion.
I remember when he gave the ball away, and we were quite lucky to get away with that. Mm-hmm. What else did he do wrong? Well,
the first half where he comes out, the first leg where he comes out and tries to clear it and just doesn't.
You talk about something that's like 100-odd minutes.
Because he didn't have
the two ties. It was ages ago.
But he didn't have that much to do apart from that. Like, what he had to do, I thought he was shaky in parts.
I think the opposite. You see, I think this is the safest I've felt all season with the guy. I don't think he's spectacular, Jed Steer, but I think he gives a bit of confidence out to the defence. I think he's decisive. Okay, he's made a bad pass, but he's decisive in what he's done.
Yeah, okay.
But I just think he's steady. I think he steadies us.
Interesting.
I think he's been reliable.
I think he's been absolutely brilliant since he came back, and he has made some...
He's a great shot stopper.
Unbelievable saves. I don't disagree with that at all. There's just been moments where I've just gone, oh, and it's been really nervous. Now, would I pick any other goalkeeper that Villa have ahead of him? No way. So that's kind of the point I'm trying to make, is that he's been absolutely brilliant, but there have been some real nervous moments as well. And I think
you get that with most keepers, I would say, where they're going to do something a little bit silly that you don't like.
I guess the reflection on Johnston was that I don't really remember him making those kind of decisive...
I remember him smashing a ball out of play twice from a dead ball goal kick last night in the space of about 5 minutes.
But he had no options. There was nobody out wide or anything to him.
A dead ball goal kick, you shouldn't be kicking out of play.
I think there was one point where he booted it long and out, and then he just went, what am I supposed to do?
I mean, I like Sam Johnston.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of his last season. I voted for him to be Player of the Year. That's why I like him. But I think what you say of you wished, was it you said you wished Johnston was our goalkeeper in that time? I think that's an incredible thing to say. It's a big shout that's probably not going to get much love.
I don't really care whether it gets love or not.
I'm sure you don't, but I disagree with it.
That's fine. You're allowed to disagree with it. But I like, so Timmy Keane Steer was class with the 2 penalty saves last night, but let's not forget his insane save during the first leg of the tie, fingertips. I totally agree with all of that, and I think he has been brilliant. I'm just trying to highlight that he wasn't brilliant to me in the whole over the whole 2 legs. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm the only one that saw that. But I'm trying to give a balanced view of how the game.
See, as I say, it's your opinion. Go so you like. I'm personally, I think that's weird.
There's a lot of love for Jed Steer. Matty Morale, he deserves all the credit he gets after a difficult start to the season. His save in the first leg and the 2 penalty saves last night could say without him we wouldn't be going to Wembley. Eleanor Cox, would you give Jed a chance to be our number 1 if we went up? I think he's shown enough over the last few months to at least be given a try.
He's shown enough to start the season.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. I don't know long term, because I've never really seen him play in the Premier League, so I couldn't tell you whether he's a Premier League goalkeeper or not. But then the other 2, I wouldn't be able to tell you that either, whether they're Premier League goalkeepers. I mean, Kalinic has come in with a big reputation, and I think you need time. Same with Neeland. I think it's the same. You need time. Plus, you've got to remember the defence was an absolute mess, whereas it hasn't been since Steer's been in goal. But he deserves to start the season for sure.
I think there's going to be a big goalkeeper competition next year. Whichever league we're in, there's going to be a fight.
I don't think we'll be buying a keeper.
No.
I would suggest either league. I wouldn't say that we'll be going out and getting a goalkeeper. The only thing I don't like about Jed Steer is that it's one of them stories that's making me think we're going to go up. I'm trying not to get my hopes up.
Well, RS...
It is an incredible story of how it's been for Villa with Jed Steer. He's been there all along, never really utilised.
Injured a lot.
Yeah, had a lot of... And that's probably to be fair to the other managers, I do think that's probably one of the reasons why he hasn't been involved.
I agree.
As much, because he has struggled with injury, and I think Bruce did allude to that when he loaned him out, that he was worried about his injury record. That's why he felt he had to get another goalkeeper in.
Except he started him.
Which is fair. Yeah, he was...
That didn't make any sense.
It was him or Bunn at that point, wasn't it?
But but to start him and then send him out, I just seemed very odd. But anyway...
Yeah, don't play him if you don't want him. If you want to play Neelan because he's your goalkeeper, fair enough, but don't loan him out to Charlton.
Yeah.
Keep him around just in case.
RS Nui, I think, sums it up perfectly. Heroes can emerge from the most unlikely of places. A few months ago, Jed was on loan at Charlton, and I honestly think without his save at Villa Park on Saturday and the display last night, we wouldn't be at Wembley. Is he a true top-draw keeper? Whether he's a true top-draw keeper remains to be seen, in my opinion.
You can't say after 10 or so games.
Exactly. But
I love you.
RS Nui, everybody is exactly right in that world-class save and those 2 penalty saves. Without those, who knows? But he covered himself in glory and absolutely.
You've been hating on him at the same time.
I haven't been hating on it. Don't twist it.
You've been hating on him.
I've said he's the hero and he absolutely deserves it. I hope they will learn from those kind of, what I think is a little bit headless, kind of coming out to get a ball that he shouldn't be getting at. We'll see. Time will tell, and maybe I'm wrong, and I'm sure people will tell me in the comments when I am wrong. But that was just my impression. Let's get to a couple more comments before we finish here. Grealish, couple quotes from him. We were there last year. We know what it feels like to lose. Me and Conor Hurahan have got a bit of experience in that, and we'll try and feed that to the lads who haven't. Our team this year is a lot younger. We're all hungry. We've all got the legs still, and on that big pitch at Wembley, it's vital.
And that's why I'd play Green over Adoma. Legs.
It's a good shout.
Yeah,
very good shout.
The whole Grealish thing as well. Like, we've got to go up anyway. The Championship's been a good laugh. We've all had our fun, but I want Villa to be in the Premier League. We need the financial flexibility that the Premier League brings for our owners to be able to flex their financial muscle, because they cannot do that in the Championship, even though they want to. But I'm just not ready for that beautiful man to not be playing for Aston Villa. And that's what will happen if we don't go up.
For sure.
We need to go up. We need to build a Premier League side around that man and have him as captain for the next 5 to 10 years, hopefully, and have a successful Villa.
I don't know if your mates have been the same, but your non-Villa mates are now... The ones that were scoffing about Grealish over the last couple of years, he's never good, you're always kind of piping up all this. And now they're like, oh yeah, I wouldn't mind a bit of Jack Grealish in my team.
I was speaking to Jack Murphy, our friend the other day, Brentford fan, and he was saying he just loves watching Jack Grealish.
Jack Murphy's a good little player. He's a good
footballer,
he's a tricky footballer,
yeah.
And that's the kind of player.
Yeah, I had a good point to make. Then you've thrown me by praising Jack Murphy's football. To be honest,
that often happens.
I've got it. I was talking to Rollo earlier. We were just saying, like, this time last year, we thought Jack was incredible, and he was. But he's a different kind of player now to what he was 12 months ago. He's a better player than he was then, and then he was very, very good. Now he's just phenomenal. And
he's got the team around him as well, hasn't he? He can bring players in, which he couldn't really do last year. He had to do it on his own. And we've seen moments of brilliance, obviously goal of the season.
He's added goals, that's the key thing, and assists, and you always feel like he might score now, which I never felt like that last season.
Yeah, for sure.
He's just a class act, fans' favourite. Everyone loves him except for Pat Tolley, and I just want him to be here. I want him to be here forever. It's not. I'd love to have him in the booth, mate.
We'd fit him in.
Really pick his brains. Yeah, I mean, there's no room for Dolan, but there's definitely room for any Villa players or ex-Villa players that want to come in the booth. There probably wasn't room for Johnny Gold when we had him in the booth.
No way.
To be fair, was there? But I can't tell you how much I love Jack Grealish. And we all do.
Yeah. You are not alone. Ian F, this is one for you. One of my highlights from the night was the West Bromwich Albion version of Prize Where It Lies at half-time.
I didn't see it. I was having a wee.
The lad got the ball on the target and won an air freshener.
Christ, I thought our prizes were bad at Villa Park.
That's pretty shocking.
An air freshener.
I mean, I can't confirm or deny this, but neither can you.
No.
So there you go. But I like the story. So Ian F, thank you for that. Real Villa employee, which confused me because I think it's Villa Mad. I think he's changed his.
You sure?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Because it's a locked account, but I'm following it. So
could be Villa Mad. He does change his name on a regular basis.
You're trying to throw me, Villa, mate, and then he'll moan that I don't ask.
I was about to say that.
Question.
He moans at me as well. I'm not in charge of the notes, mate.
Well, you were last week.
Yeah, he didn't ask a question.
What's the retro shirt of choice for the final? I think that's going to be a surprise. Little Villain, George Fowler, similar question. I'm going to try and...
Glossed over that retro shirt question.
What? No,
I don't want to build it.
No, they're the same kind of questions, retro shirt.
I apologise, Tom.
Listen, you wait for the notes and you let them lie.
Respect the notes.
Exactly. I'm going to try and sneak in another one, I think.
I am, but it's through... It's one that I can admit to the wife because I'm doing it through a proper channel without spending actual money.
I've tried to sell one of my NFL jerseys to raise some cash. Not really, but it'll be like 15 quid maybe, and then get rid of that and get a new shirt.
I've got a collection of old Villa jackets that I don't really have. Well, no, I don't wear at all, and I wouldn't class myself as a collector of Villa jackets. So I've just sent photos of them to Classic Football shirts because they've got some real good shirts on their Villa shirts. And I've just said, how much will you give me for them? And they said, we'll give you £100 store credit. So that'll enable me to get a real special jersey, I reckon.
Nice.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
Very nice.
If anyone wants to offer me more than £100 for my 4 Villa jackets.
I was going to ask for some pictures to have a look. I'm not going to give you 100 quid for any of them.
I'm not going to show you the pictures now.
All right, fair enough.
It's literally a pointless waste of everyone's time if I do that, isn't it?
Good old. Dave Alford, will all the Villa View members be at Wembley? I think so, right?
I mean, I've got my tickets.
You've got your tickets. I've got a ticket.
Not happy with my ticket, though?
No. Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about this. Yeah, go on. Air your grievance.
So last year, I went for I don't know what it's called, Tier 1, is it? No, I don't know what it's called. Basically, the best ones you can get, apparently. Right. That's because you want to go there, and if I'm going to watch a match, I like to sit in the best seats that I can. So last year, my seats were brilliant. I was probably middle tier. I had to go through Club Wembley to get there. I was middle tier, front row. Great stuff. Brilliant. But at the same price this year, I'm on the halfway line, which is okay. But I'm lower tier and 12 rows back, and I think, is that worth the £100? I'm not sure it is. I'm not happy about it. It's put a bit of a dampener on it, to be honest.
Can I ask a question?
You can, Tom.
Why would you go for middle, like halfway line, when usually you sit behind the goal?
I couldn't get it in the top tier. There was the top pricing category. I couldn't get one behind the goal. It said they were sold out.
Oh, really?
And I was quite proper.
You were bang
I was
on
there at 5:15.
Right.
Actually, I had to wait in a queue, but I was on there at 5:15.
Right.
Part of me thinks, and this would be typical Villa to do this, Villa are probably the lower category ones they're charging £100 for by mistake, and the better seats are going for £35.
That'd be a disaster.
And Villa have just got the key wrong. That's part of me thinks that's what's happened.
Absolute shocker. We'll see, because you've seen a video of where you think you're roughly sitting as well, haven't you?
I'm not happy about it. I can't do anything about it now.
No.
Yeah, I'm just not happy.
You got a ticket. I think...
Last year, though, I went to Wembley knowing that I'd looked at the sea view and I was like, oh, yeah, I've done well there. Dad's going to be pleased. Also, not happy that my dad's ticket's half the price of mine, but that's a different story.
Yeah,
he's a pensioner.
Rollo will get his ticket as well. And I saw Dolan had tweeted a picture of a new suit for the playoff final, so I think he'll be there.
He'll turn
as
to
well.
Wembley in his suit, even if he hasn't got a ticket.
Yeah.
No, Dolan will 100% get a ticket.
Yeah.
100%. That covers everyone, doesn't it? We're all there.
About everyone.
Rushton, if we class him as a member, I'm not sure whether he's had his...
I think so.
He's on a preview every week, isn't he?
Pretty much, yeah.
He's not had the say-so from me, so I don't think he's a fully fledged member yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I just wanted to finish on this one. Hot diggity D. We're in danger of overthinking that performance last night. West Brom put 11, then 10 behind the ball and defended like they were stationed at Rorke's Drift.
I mean, I don't even know what that means.
No, me neither.
He's a good lad, though. He's a good follow on Twitter.
Like
Hot diggity D.
It was our worst nightmare, but we came through it nonetheless. Neither Derby nor Leeds can or will play that way, so bring it on. I thought that was a nice way to finish. And I agree. We are recording as the game is about to start between Leeds and Derby. You think it'll be Leeds? I'm
I can't see, and I know a Derby fan at work, and he's got zero confidence in Derby.
I actually felt before the playoffs started that I was most worried about Derby.
Really? See,
yeah.
Just on the basis that we've played them twice and absolutely thumped them both times, you want to play Derby, really, don't you?
Yeah.
Leeds is just they've
got a storyline.
They've got a storyline, so they're 15 years now out of the picture in the Premier League. I know we talk on like we deserve to be in the Premier League, and if you're down there, you don't deserve it. But historically, Villa and Leeds should be Premier League teams, really.
Yeah.
I think their fan base is just as raucous as ours, which is a bit of a leveller.
Yeah.
Mind you, actually, Fulham aren't renowned for having the best fan base in the world, but that didn't make a difference last year, did it?
No, but it'll make a great atmosphere if it's Leeds Villa.
There's the whole, obviously, it all kicked off when we played them a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Sky will be buzzing for a Villa Leeds final. It's what Sky want, isn't it? One Villa Leeds. It's a big final. Two big teams. Certain section of their fans are absolute animals, to be honest, as well. I mean, I went to the final in '96. I was 10 when Villa played Leeds, and I don't remember seeing any trouble at all. But we were talking last night, and people were saying there was trouble. Right. There was trouble. I mean, I was obviously a young lad, kept away from it. All I remember is Savo Milosevic banging it in the top corner, to be honest. But yes, just the thought of playing Leeds in the final, I just think so. If last night was twitchy, which it was more than, I can't imagine what the final is going to be like now.
I think that's going to be like that regardless, though.
No, I know.
Last year we didn't feel confident. This year, I guess we've gone in feeling confident, and now that's kind of been tapered.
I've learned my lesson with confidence.
It's going to be difficult, though. It's going to be...
No, because if we're playing Leeds, I've split it straight down the middle. It's 50-50.
Yeah.
There's reasons that both those teams could win that game.
Yeah.
I still stand by that last night was the worst feeling I've ever had in a football match, and I don't even... in the final, I don't think it can get as bad as how I felt last night.
Imagine if it goes to penalties.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true. It's the fact it was against West Brom and
I don't know.
Their patch.
The Premier League, and it goes down to like the last penalty.
No.
Oh, right. We've got to get out of here. I feel sick again.
You want to talk about the FBA briefly?
I did, yes.
I didn't.
No. I don't want to talk about it for long, but thank you to everybody that voted for the Villa View.
Not enough of you.
No, we were once again the bridesmaid, and well done to Villa on tour for winning. Max has done a brilliant job, unbelievable job. So well done to him.
Don't rate them.
We obviously wasn't the right result for us.
I must say, easy category to win newcomer.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, we couldn't even be entered into that because we're not a newcomer.
No, true.
No, he's done well. I had quite a sobering. I met with Max before the game on Saturday. Quite a sobering moment, to be honest, because. This is going to sound really arrogant, and I don't mean it to at all, but every now and again people do come up and ask for photos. You've had it as well, and that is bizarre. People come up and ask for photos and stuff at Villa Park sometimes, and it's a nice thing. Like, I find it weird, because I'm just a Villa fan.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a nice thing, and I enjoy speaking to people about the Villa and the Villa View, and people come up and ask for photos. So with Max on Saturday, about 4 or 5 people came up and asked Max for a photo, and I was just standing there.
Oh, no.
It was horrible.
That's hard.
So sobering moment, just especially after he's become an FBA's winner.
Yeah. I mean,
as well. They are top. I've got to say, they are top lads, all three of them. Lovely. I mean, Owen and Max were in tears last night.
Yeah.
I think Jamie was too off his face to even have any emotion, to be honest. But yeah, Max and Owen were in tears last night.
Go home and away. So good lads. Well done.
Great lads.
Well deserved.
They're still going to lose the 7-a-side though.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to take them apart. And then
you got your Slazengers ready.
I'm totally ready. I've got some nice bits. I played 5-a-side in Hong Kong. Did you know I went to Hong Kong?
I didn't know you played 5-a-side.
Yeah, 5 games, won 5.
Who did you play with?
My mate Grayland, who lives out there.
There's only 2 of you, mate. You're a bit short.
And I played for his team, Sunday Spartans, and they're decent side.
I've met you, mate. Haven't I? It's been at your birthday.
Yes, yeah, good player. Anyway, I was very average throughout, and then
shocked me.
My literal last touch in the 5th game, cross came over, banged in a volley, and he subbed me.
Really?
Yeah,
because he knows he doesn't get better than
exactly.
Yeah,
it was quite a nice touch.
Fair.
Anyway, thank you for voting. We really appreciate it, and maybe 2020 is our year.
I'm not entering again.
No,
it's embarrassing.
I feel a bit sick from the FBA.
It's embarrassing because we lost Best Podcast, for example, to Arsenal Fan TV. Realistically, we aren't going to beat. I don't like Arsenal Fan TV. I disagree with everything they stand for, and I wish they'd do one. But
and thank you very much for watching.
No, I don't like them. So, but I accept losing to them. I don't think their content's great, but we're going to lose them because they've got got more subscribers. So I'm thinking in my head, well, they get millions of views. Of course they're going to beat us. And then it comes to the judges' vote, and we lose to Millwall, and that throws all the stuff that I'm thinking on its head. I've never listened to the Millwall podcast.
I actually have listened to the Millwall podcast.
Is it good? Is it better than ours?
It's interesting because he does a bit like Villa on tour. He does a bit before, and then he podcasts during the game as well, and then does a bit afterwards.
That's not a podcast, that's a vlog.
But it's not. It's just audio.
In the game?
Yeah, so he'll just
that's
take...
vlogging, mate.
He'll just take... Well, it's not, because it's not video.
Still vlogging during the game.
No, vlogging is video blogging, right? You can't...
Fair.
So...
What is it then?
So he... Logging? Audio logging? I don't know. Anyway, that's what he does. It's quite an interesting concept. Whether he deserves to win or not is here nor there. It just sounds bitter to me.
My argument would be, is that a podcast?
Well, it is, because it goes out on iTunes, doesn't it?
Yeah, but we put match previews out on iTunes, but they're not. I wouldn't say they're podcasts. This is a podcast.
Yeah.
It's two people sat here for an hour having a chat. We've been robbed, mate.
Yeah.
Absolutely robbed.
Not bitter at all. But there you go. So that's it. I think by the time this comes out, there'll be a match reaction with Rolo and Rushton.
They've recorded it. I think they're finished now.
Yeah. So that should be out by the time you can get your hands on this. Obviously, next week is lead up to playoff week.
We're hoping to get together and do some videos.
We're hoping to do a full thing and a few bits and pieces. So stay tuned for that. I'm away next week, but then coming back for the final.
Any danger of you lot just being around for a week, mate?
I mean, I'm
Where
busy.
Are you going now?
Busy man. Going to Germany next week.
What for?
Family's to introduce Alfie to the German family.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, but the last week was work, and then little trip to Hong Kong.
You said it's work, mate. But you're playing five-a-side football in Hong Kong.
That wasn't work. That was on the way back.
Yeah, that's not back out like you're a footballer.
Yeah, that would be nice. So anyway, so plenty of content for you to get your teeth stuck into over the next week. And by the time we're next in this booth, probably, will you and Dolan do something next week in here?
Depends what we do beforehand.
Yeah.
Probably,
Anyway.
I'm going to say.
Anyway, so we'll wait and see. We'll see what's happening.
Yeah.
But
We'll let you know.
yeah. Do you want to do the rest?
Not really.
Okay. Well,
I'm really tired, to be honest, mate. It was a
like-
late night last night, and
All right, mate.
come back to London this morning, and I'm working. I've got to go back to work after this now.
Yeah, well,
Not great.
tough life.
But we're through. That's all we care about.
That's it. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, do all of that kind of stuff. If I'm bang wrong about Jed Steer, let me know. You're absolutely entitled to that. And Villa, playoff finalists.
Again.
Let's go.
Let's go. That's a terrible ending. Can we say something else?
What do you want to say?
We can't. Let's go. It's not an NFL game, mate.
Let's go.
No, we're not in America. They can't just end the podcast.
Well, how do you want to end it?
Up the Villa, maybe?
Up the Villa.
Something a bit more logical.
I thought you'd come in with Up the Villa.
Well, I would have done that. You've not gone, let's go.
You've butchered this, haven't you?
You speak for yourself.
Up the Villa.
Up the Villa. If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.